In the heart of a vibrant community, where the sun blessed the land and the sounds of children playing filled the air, lived a woman named Sarah. She was a woman of great strength and beauty, with skin as rich as the earth and a spirit that shone brightly. She was married to Abraham, a respected leader and a man she loved with all her soul. Their life together was full of blessings, a life of purpose under the vast open sky. They had everything a person could ask for: a strong community, deep love for each other, and a connection to God. But even with all this, there was a quiet space in Sarah's heart, an empty room she longed to fill with the laughter of a child of her own. Every day, Sarah saw other women in her community holding their babies. She watched them cradle their little ones, sing them sweet lullabies, and guide their first steps. She smiled for them, sharing in their joy, but when she returned to her own tent, a deep sadness would wash over her. The silence in her home felt loud, a constant reminder of the child she did not have. Years turned into decades, and the lines on her face told a story of time passing by. Her hope, once a bright flame, was now a small, flickering ember that she struggled to keep alive against the winds of doubt and disappointment. The desire for a child was more than just a personal wish for Sarah. In their culture, a family was a continuation of a legacy, a promise for the future. Children were seen as a sign of God's favor, a blessing that enriched the entire community. Without a child, Sarah felt incomplete, as if a part of her story was missing. She carried this weight silently, a private burden that she and Abraham shared. She would often look at her reflection and see not just an aging woman, but a story that felt unfinished, a branch on the family tree that had not yet borne fruit. Her heart ached with a profound and persistent longing. Abraham loved her deeply and tried to comfort her, but he also shared her sorrow. He too dreamed of a son to carry on their name and their faith. Together they prayed. They spoke to God in the quiet of the night, their voices filled with hope and desperation. They held on to their faith, even when it felt as thin as a thread. Sarah's journey was not just about waiting for a baby. It was a deep, spiritual test of her soul. It was about learning to trust in a plan that was far bigger than her own understanding, even when every passing day made that trust harder to hold on to. One day, God spoke to Abraham with a promise that was so grand, so unbelievable, that it seemed to defy all logic. God promised that Abraham would be the father of a great nation. He said his descendants would be as numerous as the stars in the night sky and as countless as the grains of sand on the seashore. This was a wonderful, powerful promise. But there was a simple, painful fact that stood in the way of this grand vision. Sarah, the woman who was meant to be the mother of this nation, was old. She had lived far beyond the years when a woman could have a child. When Abraham told Sarah what God had promised, a storm of emotions brewed inside her. How could this be? She had spent a lifetime wishing for a child, and now, when her body was old and weary, God made this impossible promise. She listened to the words, but her heart was guarded by years of disappointment. She had prayed the same prayer for so long that she had almost given up. This promise felt like a cruel joke, a beautiful dream being shown to someone who could no longer dare to believe in it. It was too much to hope for, too big to imagine. Sarah's reaction was not one of immediate faith. It was the reaction of a human being who had been hurt by a long and painful wait. When she overheard 3 divine messengers repeat the promise to Abraham, saying that she would have a son within the year, she laughed. It was not a laugh of joy, but a laugh of disbelief. It was the sound of a woman who knew her own body, who knew the laws of nature, and who could not see how such a miracle could happen. It was a laugh that said, "You do not understand. I am too old. It is too late." But God heard her laugh. He gently challenged her, asking, "Is anything too hard for the Lord?" Those words hung in the air, powerful and true. They cut through Sarah's doubt and touched the small ember of hope that still remained in her heart. The question was not about her age or her body. It was about God's power. It was a reminder that His plans are not limited by human understanding or by the passing of time. This moment was a turning point for Sarah, a call to shift her focus from her own limitations to God's infinite possibilities. The seasons changed, and the promise that once seemed so distant began to feel real. A change started happening within Sarah's body, a miracle that defied everything she knew. Life began to grow where there had been only emptiness. It was a quiet, sacred secret at first, something she could hardly believe herself. With each passing day, the truth became more undeniable. She, Sarah, a woman of 90 years, was going to have a child. The doubt that had clouded her heart for so long began to part like the morning mist, revealing the bright sun of a new reality. Her spirit, once heavy with sorrow, began to feel light and full of wonder. The day finally came when Sarah gave birth to a son. She held him in her arms, this impossible, beautiful baby. She looked into his tiny face, and all the years of waiting, all the tears and all the pain melted away. It was a moment of pure, overwhelming joy. Abraham, now 100 years old, stood by her side, his eyes filled with tears of gratitude. This was not just any baby. This was the child of the promise. He was the living, breathing proof that God keeps his word, no matter how long it takes. The silence in their tent was finally broken by the sweet, strong cries of their newborn son. They named him Isaac, which means he laughs. This name was a beautiful reminder of Sarah's own journey from disbelief to joy. She had laughed in doubt when she first heard the promise, but now her laughter was different. It was the full, deep, and joyful laughter of a mother who had received the greatest gift imaginable. "God has brought me laughter," she declared, "and everyone who hears about this will laugh with me." Her joy was not just her own. It was a joy to be shared with her entire community, a testament to the wonderful and mysterious ways of God. The birth of Isaac changed everything for their family. He was the beginning of the great nation God had promised. He was the link between the past and a future filled with hope. For Sarah, holding Isaac was the fulfillment of her deepest desire. It taught her that God's timing is perfect, even when it doesn't make sense to us. Her story became a powerful lesson that miracles can happen at any age, and that faith, even when it is small and tested, can move mountains. Isaac's birth was not just the start of a family line, it was the start of a legacy of faith for generations to come. Sarah's story does not end with the birth of her son. It continues to echo through time, a powerful message of faith and patience for all of us. Her journey teaches us that the waiting periods in our lives are not empty. They are not punishments. They are often sacred spaces where our faith is deepened and our character is strengthened. Sarah's long years of barrenness were not a sign of God's disapproval. Instead, they were the backdrop against which God would paint his most beautiful masterpiece of a miracle. Her story shows us that even in our most profound moments of doubt, God is working behind the scenes for our good. The importance of Sarah's story is found in its honesty. She was not a perfect hero of faith from the beginning. She was human. She doubted, she grew tired, and she laughed in disbelief. This makes her story so relatable. It gives us permission to be honest about our own struggles and fears. Her journey shows that faith is not the absence of doubt, but the choice to trust even when we are afraid. It is about holding on to a promise when everything around us says it is impossible. Sarah's eventual trust and God's incredible faithfulness created a legacy that would bless the entire world. Through Isaac, Sarah became the mother of a nation. Her descendants carried the story of her miracle in their hearts, a constant reminder of God's power and love. Her experience became a cornerstone of their identity, teaching them that their God was a God who could do anything. This legacy of faith, passed down from one generation to the next, is a testament to the ripple effect of one person's journey. Sarah's patience and eventual trust did not just bless her. They created a river of blessings that has flowed through history, touching countless lives along the way. Today, on August 3rd, 2025, Sarah's story continues to inspire us. It reminds us to be patient with our own journey and to trust in a timeline that is not our own. It tells us that beautiful things can come from long periods of waiting. Whether we are waiting for a child, a dream, or a breakthrough, Sarah's life is a hopeful whisper that says, "Do not give up." It is a beautiful and uplifting truth that even when we feel old and it seems too late, God can still bring forth laughter, joy, and new life. Her legacy is one of enduring hope.